A truffle pig started digging, just doing what truffle pigs do, snout in the earth, searching for treasure. But what came up wasn't a delicacy. It was a plastic bag, and inside, buried for 2 years, was evidence that would finally answer what happened to the marathon runner who vanished from Napa's trails. Before we dive deeper, hit subscribe if stories like this pull you in. Drop a comment. Tell us where you're watching from. These stories travel far, and it's incredible to see where they reach. September 15th, 2020, Napa Valley. The air is thick with late summer heat, dry and golden, carrying the scent of wild rosemary and ripening grapes. David Chen and Veronica Hensley are running the Channel Trail together, their footsteps rhythmic on the dusty path. They pause at a familiar junction, weathered wooden signpost, carved letters, CHNH 500. David pulls out his phone. Veronica leans against the sign, water bottle in hand, flushed from the run. She smiles, effortless, radiant, completely genuine. The camera clicks. The moment freezes. It's the last photograph ever taken of her. David has a conference in Sacramento the next day. 2 days. He leaves before dawn, Wednesday, September 16th. Sleepy kiss in dim light. The kind of casual goodbye that happens 1,000 times in a shared life. He tells her he'll call that evening. He has no way of knowing the silence on the other end will become a deafening roar. The conference hotel in Sacramento is all beige walls and fluorescent lighting. David sits through keynote speeches, his mind drifting to that run with Veronica, the sun on his skin. Around 7 p.m., he returns to his room, loosens his tie, dials her number, straight to voicemail. He's not alarmed. Not yet. Phone battery drained after a long day at the clinic, maybe, or an evening walk without it. He sends a text. Hey, hope you had a good day. Call me when you get this. Orders room service, watches an hour of television, tries again. Voicemail. A small knot forms in his stomach. Veronica is meticulous, lives by her schedule. Their evening call is a fixed point, especially when one of them is away. Another text. Getting a little worried, everything okay? He waits. The 3 dots of a reply never appear. By 10 p.m., the unease sharpens into real concern. He calls Veronica's best friend, Sarah. Hey, sorry to call so late. Have you heard from Veronica today? Sarah's voice carries confusion. No, I haven't. I was just thinking it was weird she didn't call me back this afternoon. She never does that. The confirmation sends cold fear through him. It's not just him. No one has heard from her. He spends the rest of the night pacing, phone in hand, calling every 30 minutes. Each automated voice, a judgment. A confirmation she's somewhere he can't reach. Dawn brings no relief, just frantic certainty. David checks out before sunrise, drives back to Napa, his mind racing through 1,000 terrible scenarios. As he drives, he makes the call he never imagined making. 911. Voice cracking. Veronica Hensley is missing. When he arrives at the CHNH trailhead, the scene is already cordoned off. Yellow tape, 2 patrol cars, and there, at the far end of the dusty lot, Veronica's silver sedan, locked, undisturbed, half-empty water bottle in the center console, sunglasses on the passenger seat. She made it to the trail. Started her run just as she always did, but somewhere in that vast, sun-drenched wilderness, Veronica Hensley vanished. The response is swift. The trailhead transforms into the epicenter of a massive investigation. Yellow tape against natural browns and greens. Deputies photograph the vehicle from every angle, the dust on its hood a silent clock marking time. Inside those mundane objects, sunglasses, water bottle, have taken on sinister significance. Artifacts of a life abruptly paused. Initial sweep of the first 100 yards of trail finds nothing. No scuff marks, no dropped keys, no signs of struggle. It's as if Veronica was simply erased the moment she stepped onto the path. By midday, the army arrives. Napa County Search and Rescue. White trucks. Mobile command post under a sprawling oak. Seasoned volunteers, teachers, electricians, retirees who dedicate their free time to finding the lost. SAR team leader Frank Hewitt unrolls a massive topographical map. The terrain is brutal, steep ascents, deep ravines, countless intersecting paths, many unmaintained. He marks the map with red grease pencil, outlining probable routes, establishing search grids, assigning sectors. David stands nearby, a ghost at the edge of activity, his face pale, drawn. His eyes keep drifting to the trail, to the dark opening that swallowed the woman he loves. K-9 units arrive. German shepherd named Ranger, veteran of dozens of searches. His handler Maria lets him inhale Veronica's scent from the car. Ranger barks, whines, signals he has the trail. Maria gives the command. The dog surges forward, pulling toward the trailhead with confident stride. For the first mile, he's relentless, following the main path without hesitation. Tail high, focus absolute. The team following behind feels cautious optimism. This is how it's supposed to work. The dog is on the scent. Discovery feels imminent. Then they reach a fork in the trail. Main path continues straight. Smaller track veers left, descending into a shaded creek bed. Ranger stops dead. He whines, nose twitching frantically. He takes a few steps down the left fork, doubles back, circles the junction with growing agitation. He looks back at Maria, his confident posture gone, replaced by visible confusion. The scent trail has vanished, as if Veronica was lifted from the spot, leaving no trace of which direction she went. Maria tries to coax him, recast the scent, but the dog is resolute. The trail is cold. Back at the command post, detectives interview other hikers from Wednesday morning. Most saw nothing unusual. Then an elderly couple, the Hendersons, approach a deputy. Concern etched on their faces. They were on a different trail system, Lower Ridge Trail, about 3 miles away. Around 11 a.m. Wednesday, returning to their car, they witnessed something disturbing. A young woman with blonde hair, matching Veronica's description, in a heated argument with a man next to a dusty dark blue pickup truck. They couldn't hear the words, but the man's posture was aggressive. The woman seemed distressed. Lead Detective Bill Sutton weighs the information. Location is wrong. Time is late. But it's the only tangible lead they have. A bolo goes out for the blue pickup. Resources diverted. Patrol cars cruise back roads. Deputies canvass the Lower Ridge area. 6 hours of investigation focus shifts, chasing the phantom blue truck. It leads nowhere. The man and woman are never identified. The lead dissolves, leaving only the bitter taste of wasted effort. Helicopter from California Highway Patrol cuts through the sky. Rhythmic whump, whump, whump echoing off canyon walls. From the air, the scale is overwhelming. The spotter scans through high-powered binoculars, but the dense canopy of oaks forms a nearly impenetrable shield. He sees trails, thin ribbons of dirt, but the terrain alongside is lost in shadow. He sees a deer, a fox. No flash of color, no sign of a person in distress. Drones offer a more intimate but equally frustrating perspective. Pilots guide small aircraft through ravines. High-resolution cameras feed live streams to monitors. Grid patterns, square after square of wilderness. Hours of staring at screens, watching a world of rock and scrub scroll by. The drones see only what the forest wants them to see. Trees, rocks, deep dark shadows that could hide anything. Day 4 brings a flicker of hope. A volunteer named Leo, college student home for summer, is assigned to a brush-busting team searching difficult off-trail areas. He's navigating a steep slope, choked with thorny manzanita, hundreds of yards from the main path where the canine lost the scent. As he pushes a branch aside, a flash of color catches his eye. Shocking, unnatural pink against muted forest floor. He kneels, heart pounding, snagged on a thorn. A single brightly colored shoelace, clean, almost new. He radios the command post immediately. The response is electric. David provided photos of Veronica's running shoes, bright pink Hokas. The shoelace is a perfect match. Within the hour, the area swarms with SAR personnel. New grid established, centered on the shoelace location. For the rest of the day, they conduct an inch-by-inch search, clearing brush, sifting through leaf litter. They find nothing else. No other clothing. No backpack. No sign of struggle. No Veronica. The shoelace is both breakthrough and torment. It proves she was there, far from the trail, but offers no explanation how or why. The single vibrant clue hangs in the air. Question marks suspended over a landscape refusing to provide answers. As days wear on, the investigation turns inward. Detectives sit with David in a quiet room. Questions polite, but probing. Designed to dismantle timelines and expose inconsistencies. They ask him to recount Sacramento minute by minute. Where did he stop for gas? Check-in time? Who did he speak to? David, hollowed by grief and sleeplessness, answers them all. Frustration simmering beneath weary cooperation. While he speaks, another team verifies his story. Pull credit card records. Starbucks purchase in Sacramento confirmed. Hotel security footage showing him at check-in at the exact stated time. Cell phone tower data irrefutable. Phone pinged towers along I-80 and within Sacramento the entire duration. He was exactly where he said he was. The lead detective clears him. It should bring relief, but for David, it only deepens despair. If he's not responsible, then a stranger is. And that possibility is infinitely more terrifying. After 2 weeks, the relentless Napa sun has baked the ground hard. Wind scoured the trails clean. The search covered over 50 square miles of brutal terrain. Volunteers are exhausted. Hope worn thin. Resources stretched. September 30th. Frank Hewitt makes the call. At a press conference near the trailhead, he stands before microphones and announces the active search is being suspended. Formal language. Transitioning to limited, continuous search. Investigation remains open, but the meaning is clear. The Army is going home. The command post is dismantled. Maps rolled up. Yellow tape taken down. As the last SAR truck pulls out, David and Veronica's sisters stand together at the trail's edge. The familiar sounds, radios, helicopters, shouts of volunteers, are gone. Replaced by profound, terrible silence of the wilderness. The forest has taken its secret, and for now, it's refusing to give it back. A year passes, then another. Fall 2021. Veronica's case officially moves to cold case files, a procedural step. Quiet acknowledgement all leads are exhausted. The thick binder, topographical maps, witness statements, photo of a pink shoelace, placed on a shelf alongside dozens of others, each representing a life interrupted, a story without ending. To the system, Veronica is now a statistic, a puzzle waiting for a piece that might never be found. But for her family, there's no such thing as a cold case. Her absence is raw, daily. A void time cannot fill. Her younger sister Jessica becomes the torchbearer, creates a Facebook page, Find Veronica Hensley, posts the last photo David took, Veronica's bright smile, stark contrast to growing darkness of the mystery. On the anniversary, Jessica organizes a memorial run. Dozens gather at the CHNH trailhead, run the first mile together. Silent procession of footsteps on dusty path. Release balloons into the vast indifferent sky. A ritual of hope in the face of hopelessness. Meanwhile, on NUS Reddit forums and true crime blogs, Veronica's story takes on different life. Amateur sleuths dissect every detail. Theories multiply. Tragic accident. Fall into undiscovered ravine. Mountain lion attack. Planned disappearance. The lack of evidence becomes evidence itself to some. Spring 2022. 18 months after Veronica vanished. A terrifying incident sends ripples through Napa. A woman jogging on a trail about 5 miles away reports being followed by a man in an older sedan. He parked at a turnout. Watched her run past. On her return loop, he was standing outside his car. As she approached, he exposed himself, then jumped back in his vehicle and sped away. The fear of a trail predator resurfaces with vengeance. Sheriff's office increases patrols, issues warnings. For a few weeks, Veronica's case is pulled from cold files. Detectives re-examine the possibility of a random predatory attack. But the man is never identified. No other incidents reported. The blue pickup from the initial sighting remains a ghost. With no evidence connecting the flasher to Veronica, the brief flicker of activity dies down. The file returns to the shelf. The void settles back in, deeper, more silent than before. October 2022, 2 years after Veronica's disappearance. Early autumn in Napa. The air dry, ground hard. Forests a tinderbox. Michael Petro, retired chef in his late 60s, has discovered a second passion: truffle hunting. His partner is Rosie, a Kunakuni pig whose discerning snout is far more effective than any dog. That morning, Michael and his wife Sarah drive their old pickup deep into remote oak forest, miles from any marked trail, private land, a sprawling ranch whose owner gives permission to forage. They're in a promising area, ground beneath ancient oaks, damp and shaded. Rosie, usually methodical, begins digging with frantic, feverish excitement. Sharp, insistent snorts. "She's got a big one, Sarah," Michael calls, grinning. He kneels beside the pig, hands moving to clear the rich, dark soil. He expects to feel the firm, rounded form of a prized black truffle. Instead, his shovel strikes something soft, pliable, something that gives way with a sickening, unnatural yielding. He pauses, frowning, pushes Rosie gently aside, begins digging more carefully with his hands. He clears away loose dirt and leaves. His fingers brush against a thin, slick surface. Plastic. He works around the edges. Initial excitement curdling into apprehension. The object is a bag, buried just a foot beneath the surface. With a final pull, he works it free. Michael stands, holding the bag, translucent grocery-style plastic sack caked with dirt and grime, but its contents horrifyingly visible through the weathered film. Sarah gasps, hand flying to her mouth. Inside, a woman's athletic clothing, faded pink and white sports bra, black running shorts. Alongside the clothes, other more intimate items. A used unrolled condom, a sealed blue Durex wrapper, a used tampon, a grotesque tableau, a story of violence and violation preserved in the earth. Sarah's gaze fixes on the sports bra, the distinct gradient, white to pink. It snags her attention, pulls a half-forgotten image from memory, the missing runner. News reports from 2 years ago, photos of the smiling blonde woman in her running gear. The clothes in the bag match. She knows with bone-chilling certainty what this is. Her hands tremble as she fumbles for her smartphone. "Hold it up, Michael," she says, voice thin, shaky. "Don't move it. Just hold it up." Michael, face pale and grim, holds the bag aloft. Autumn sunlight filters through trees, illuminating the disturbing contents. Sarah snaps a photo, the click unnaturally loud in silent woods. Then another. She knows how important this is. Capture the evidence exactly as found before the story it tells can be altered. They stand there for a long moment, the two of them and the pig, guardians of a terrible discovery. They can't touch it further, have to call the police. They leave the bag where it is, mark the spot with bright orange ribbon tied to a tree branch. When they meet 2 Napa County Sheriff's deputies on a remote dirt road, Their story tumbles out in panicked fragments. They show the photos on Sarah's phone. One deputy, veteran detective Dave Riley, feels a jolt of recognition. He was a junior detective when Veronica Hensley vanished. He remembers the posters, the fruitless searches, the photo of her in that same pink and white top. He remembers the single pink shoelace. This isn't just a potential lead. This is the case ripped open after 2 years of silence. The discovery sends shockwaves through the department. Within hours, the remote woods transform into a major crime scene. Miles of yellow tape. Forensic teams in white suits descend. Grid search around the old oak tree. The bag is carefully excavated. Sealed in an evidence container, rushed to the state crime lab in Sacramento. At the lab, work begins immediately. Clothes carefully separated, examined. Under harsh lights, they're undeniably Veronica's. Style, brand, colors, perfect match to photos David provided. Focus shifts to the most critical pieces, the condom, the tampon. Scientists in sterile labs begin extracting DNA, working against degradation of time and elements, searching for a ghost, a genetic profile that could give a name to the shadow haunting this case for 2 years. Days turn into a week. Then the breakthrough. The lab successfully extracts a full viable male DNA profile from the used condom. Clean, uncompromised. The profile is uploaded to CODIS, Combined DNA Index System, vast national database containing genetic fingerprints of convicted felons, arrestees, unidentified crime scene evidence. The system begins its search, cross-referencing against millions of entries. The wait is agonizing, then a hit. The name flashes on screen, Mark Jennings, 45 years old, landscaper living in a small rental house on the outskirts of Napa. His entry in CODIS stems from a decade-old conviction, indecent exposure, a misdemeanor requiring DNA submission, a minor offense, but to detectives, a glaring red flag. Predators often start small and escalate. Detective Riley and his team launch covert surveillance. They pull Jennings' records. Quiet loner. No close family. Keeps to himself. Runs a small, independent landscaping business, giving him legitimate reason to be all over the county, including near trail systems and parks. A ghost, hiding in plain sight. For a week, surveillance shadows his every move. Buying supplies, mowing lawns, eating alone at cheap diners. His life seems mundane, pitiably so. But then they observe a more disturbing pattern. Several times they tail his beat-up work truck as he drives slowly past various trailheads and parks. Popular jogging spots near Lake Hennessy, Skyline Park. He doesn't stop, but he slows to a crawl. His gaze lingering on female joggers running along paths. The way he watches them is predatory. A hunter assessing prey. The behavior is chillingly consistent with their theory. He's not just a landscaper, he's a stalker. Armed with the CODIS match and surveillance footage, detectives secure a warrant. Cool, foggy morning, just before dawn. SWAT team descends on Jennings' small house. The raid is swift, overwhelming. They breach the door with a battering ram. Sharp crack echoing through the quiet neighborhood. Jennings is found in his bed, startled from sleep. He offers no resistance. Expression bewildered confusion, rather than fear or guilt. He's handcuffed. Led to a waiting patrol car, face illuminated by flashing red and blue lights. While Jennings is transported, a forensic team begins systematic search of his house. Sparse, tidy. The home of a man who lives a solitary life, but the digital world holds his secrets. On his old desktop computer, a forensic analyst uncovers a hidden password-protected folder. Inside, hundreds of photographs, all taken with powerful telephoto lens, candid, invasive, pictures of women. The women are unaware they're being photographed, moments of private exertion captured and cataloged by an unseen voyeur. Among the files, dozens of photos of Veronica, some dating back weeks before her disappearance. Jennings had been obsessed with her. In the sterile gray interrogation room, Mark Jennings sits in silence. Physically unimposing. Thinning hair, soft, paunchy middle. He answers basic questions with quiet one-word answers, eyes avoiding contact. Detective Riley begins by placing a photo of Veronica on the table. Jennings glances at it, face betraying no emotion. For hours, he denies everything. Never seen her. Never been to that trail. Then Riley plays his trump card. Slides a copy of the lab report across the table. Your DNA, Mark. Found inside a condom buried with her clothes. Explain that. Jennings stares at the AMS paper, facade cracking, breathing shallow. He shifts in his chair, calm demeanor dissolving into twitchy defensiveness. He doesn't confess, not yet. But the denial stops. Finally, after another hour of relentless questioning, the dam breaks. The confession spills out, horrifying not for passion, but for cold, detached nature. He speaks of Veronica with chilling sense of ownership. Watched her for weeks, memorized her schedule, describes his fantasy, his obsession. On the day she disappeared, he waited on a remote, overgrown section of trail, ambushed her, his account of the assault delivered in flat monotone. But it's his justification that shocks seasoned detectives. She was asking for it, Jennings says, voice devoid of emotion. Running around like that in those short clothes, so beautiful. It's not my fault. A man can only take so much. He admits killing her when she fought back, strangling her in a moment of rage. Then buried her clothes in one location, her body in another, calculated move to throw off investigation. The confession is a victory, but incomplete. Veronica is still missing. As part of a plea agreement, death penalty off the table, Jennings agrees to lead them to her body next day. Grim procession of police vehicles follows his directions deep into another even more remote section of Napa wilderness, miles from where the Petros found the bag. He points to a spot beneath a cluster of bay trees. After hours of careful excavation, Veronica's remains are finally recovered. She's coming home. But the investigation doesn't end there. The hundreds of photographs on Jennings' computer become a haunting puzzle. Detectives meticulously catalog the images, cross-reference women with unsolved missing persons cases from neighboring counties. The work is painstaking, matching faces, clothing, locations. Then come chilling breakthroughs. A distinctive sea turtle keychain visible on a backpack matches an item belonging to a 22-year-old college student who vanished while walking her dog in a Sonoma County park 5 years earlier. In another image, a woman wears a unique silver hoop earring. Family members confirm belonged to another missing woman from a year before. The horrifying truth settles in. Mark Jennings is not an opportunistic killer who made one fatal mistake. He's a serial predator who's been hunting in Northern California hills for years, methodically photographing his victims before they disappeared. His quiet life, a perfect cover for the monster lurking within. The news is delivered to Veronica's family in the quiet of their living room. It's the answer they spent 2 years praying for and dreading equally. The uncertainty is over, but it's replaced by brutal, devastating certainty. Mark Jennings is sentenced to multiple life sentences without parole. He'll die in prison. For the families of his victims, it's not justice. Not really. Nothing can bring back their loved ones. But it's an ending. Thanks for watching. If this story affected you, like and subscribe for more true mysteries every week. Tell us where you're watching from. It means everything. Until next time, stay curious and stay safe. Because sometimes the answer to a mystery doesn't come from technology or brilliant detective work. Sometimes it comes from a pig with a keen nose, searching for treasure in the dirt, digging in just the right spot at just the right moment, unearthing a secret the forest tried to keep forever.